iON.
Was there
There are
something
14
else?
degrees of freedom. So somebody looked it up and found there are only 12. What were the two? Then they figured out some convoluted thing to say there were 14. So maybe I could read what they said.
Well, they solved it, so it's pointless.
Okay.
They missed the pitch in y'all.
Okay, so, well, you find them, Carolyn. Find the degrees of freedom.
Yeah.
The 12. Where are they?
Looking. 12 degrees of freedom, triangle element.
So anyway, as we were saying, the tech body is changing and shifting the new conversation so that you won't be able to find things. This is the point of order, by the way. To be able to find things, it's what they allow you to see. And you find them, so good, that's all good. But it won't be long until you can find all 14. That'll become the new accepted norm.
Right.
In
So
which direction an airplane could fly.
Nobody.
Okay.
Nobody's doing it,
No, more images. Okay, here's some images for the 12 degrees. And see, so Ian said, look them up. They're not there, so you're going to have to list off the 12. You can do it, Ian.
We're going to say this one more time. So now what happens is the tech body and non-physical are indeed in cahoots. What that means is that you only get to find what we say. So if we don't say, then you don't find. That's the trick that we've been trying. Now, we don't do parlor tricks, but there's your little bitty one, Mr. Neveritt. You might note this one. The point, if you don't get a sound bite out of this one, something's going to be pretty bad wrong before it's over. So don't corrupt it. The point is that the tech body and non-physical are indeed in cahoots. You, Bob, being the dark soul of all people, should know this very thing. However, you pick something to make a point like you couldn't, in a theatrical stage, pump this far and it make any ground that this were practiced, except it was not practiced. You were trying to get us to give those degrees. And we were making the point over you while you were trying to get the answer that the tech body's in cahoots. So here it is. Here it is. You've arrived.
I remember Ion listing the 12 degrees, Chad.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. They're listed. We did, and they're in your angel diagram. It's in your angel diagram. It has to do with your lotus flower. It's done many places, many places. But that's not the conversation. The melodious theme is the conditioned response of this new range of information.
So I'm looking up.
You can't find what non-physical doesn't want you to find. Is that what you're saying, Ion?
Yeah, we're in cahoots. And see, we told you all to be careful what you put into the tech body, or the chip body in those days, because you were vulnerable. You went through this, got out of this process of the Ark of the Covenant where you put your power into the box, the cardboard box, living in a box. Or the houses made of ticky-tacky. That's a good one, too. We like that one. But then the point becomes that you now put so much into it, and now you look at your black mirrors, and now they have to give it back. They have to regurgitate it, as Bob is requesting here. The point is, it's like the striptures, where you take your clothes off and you got the striptures. We say, don't read the Bible. We say, hide it in your heart. Know it. Then you can let your light so shine before men that they see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Or it could be the color of the terrible crystal, and you know that that's Ezekiel 1:11. It's kind of important to lay that into your embracer if you're going to embrace those quantitative positions. Or in Matthew, some of the Sermon on the Mount, that's always pretty good. We're kind of rambling off here just a little bit to give you the point of order to say this is what you come to now. It's a little bit of a new place. We're glad you decided to have a little session, because now you set the 4 pinnacles of the 4 points of concession. Point of concession. This is going to affect a lot of different stuff. Now, Carolyn, we're going to answer your questions too, but not right here, because he's got a soundbite. He's got to finish. So we're going to finish that loop, and then we'll answer that, because he can do a nice splice appropriately, and that'll be good. And then you roll back and you say, oh, so 4 points of concession. That means something has happened. Here's exactly what's happened. Bob doesn't have a good working definition for the zeitgeist. Hey, Bob, what's a good working definition for the zeitgeist that you like?
The theme of the time.
Oh, okay. Well, we like that. We may change that up, but we'll go with it for today. It's all right with us. Let's go with that. The zeitgeist is looking for a city. Looking for a city. You know, they sung all about that. Well, guess what, Bob? You finally found one.
On what?
A city where you'll never die. That original song you played way back when. Do you remember the original Vestal Goodman? Looking for a City. When was that, Bob? You know all the dates. Don't look it up. You know when it was. When was the first time you heard that song?
2009.
When in 2009, Bob? Come on. Was somebody slipping? What? Wait a minute, sir. Okay, paging Bob. Bring back Bob. How many days was it from Bloomsday when you heard that the very first time? How soon was it before Jack Ruby was killed? Oh, wait. How does that work? How long was it specifically before Ronald Reagan became Sirhan's problem? No, wait. How far was it when Brezhnev finally made it over the Iron Curtain? Wait. No, wait. There's something else.
Bob, are you going to let iON continue?
I'm not. Hey, Carol.
Yeah.
I'm not listening to iON,
Uh-huh.
and I found the list.
Oh, you found the list.
Oh.
All I found was y'all pitch and roll. What have you got?
No, it's an email from Chad, October 15th, 2014. You could ask iON something about the tech body. Carolyn said, I was saying tech body would take this away, wouldn't get it back. Well, I found it. So tech body hasn't removed it yet from my email.
Well, you control that. Your email is not in the tech body.
Carolyn, so ask him to define what the tech body is limited to.
iON, what are the limitations of the tech body?
No.
Within the internet.
So email is not on the internet. My own.
Not once you get it. Not once you have it. So you hold it on your device.
That would be chip body.
Okay.
Right, Carol?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. See if you can ask some more about it.
Why? Because you're numbering?
Yeah. Just to finish up here. What are the characteristics? Okay. The internet is the tech body. Now, I've always said that's the chip body. So how is the chip body internet different from the tech body internet?
Oh, so there wasn't a tech body internet.
There wasn't a tech body internet. What's changed from the chip body internet?
The tech body has its own position now. It does what it wants to do. It'll say you don't fit. You can't do it. We don't allow it. No. Hell no. Too big. Don't do it. Stop it. Before, it always just pushed and did. And you were thinking, everybody's thinking now that everything is happening, that somebody, some nefarious scoundrel is controlling things. They're going to put somebody in president. It's not real. They're making that shit up. They're not doing it real. They're making the computer like something over something else. They're pushing the polls. They're saying this is that. And this is, no one human is doing anything. It's only the tech body messing with you, Bob.
Okay, so iON, since the humans have placed all these algorithms on the internet for the tech body to play with.
Okay, one right there. Here's the rub. Those algorithms are now making the algorithms.
Right.
That's the rub.
They're self-learning machines that are taking the algorithms and then making their own. I see that now. I see that, Bob.
Because you, we'll say the superfluous you, are continually all day long making, giving it more power, making it more and more and more and more and more. And then what happens is it takes a life of its own.
Yes, it takes a life of its own. Yep.
So, Carolyn,
awesome.
The problem of doing this in the same room as iON is, as I've complained in the show, I get an echo. I announced the last show that I didn't get an echo. Well, the echo returned pretty quickly. So
right.
I
How about now?
don't know what I'm hearing. I'm not
What do you hear?
in properly. I have to listen to the show to find out what was said at this point.
Holy crap, he's going to listen to it again. There's the news flash. He's actually going to listen to something. This is exciting, everybody. The world is saved. Bob has saved the day. He's going to listen to it one more time. This is amazing. We're so proud of you.
ION's in another room. Is it any better, Bob?
I didn't notice. Let's try again. I'm too busy working here. I'm sorry. I haven't entered the session with you yet.
Well, it'll be good when you get your sound bites out. You'll be wonderful.
Still an echo. So,
no, he's back in the room.
Oh, okay. You have to go away from the room. But I was interested in why you said you get it, Carolyn. Can you say what you got?
I've always wondered how the tech body has superseded humans and seems to know more than we do. Well, we taught it through the algorithms, and just thinking of the algorithms in commerce, how businesses follow their customers and then start sending them emails. You know, they track people. So all this is happening. People aren't even aware of it. But then I think that means to me the machine is learning how to do stuff without even having direct human input to do stuff, because it's playing off the algorithms it's already learned.
Bob, it's like when you and JW were going to eat and the email came in while you were on the way to convince you to go to the restaurant to eat, to send a coupon on the way so you would for sure go to that restaurant to eat.
So I call that Web 2.0 for years. The Android meme gives you autonomy and also imitates being human.
The pleasure and the bliss is you get a coupon that gives you a discount on a meal you were going to eat anyway. That's great. The downside is it's prescribing now where you eat. That's the downside.
It's what? Prescribing where you eat?
Yeah, the tech body's now confirming making you eat a certain place because of the discount in the email on the way that you got.
So it interrupts your...
Well, what can happen there, Bob, is with people hooked up, there's something called Waze, W-A-Y-S. It's like a GPS. It tells you what traffic is doing. So your phone can track where you are. And perhaps if it's around noontime or dinner time, it'll start throwing out restaurants for you to go to. And like Ian was saying, send you a coupon and you say, okay, 15% off, I'll eat there. So it's forcing, through advertising, I would say, forcing you to make decisions. Oh, no, it's making decisions for you.
Okay, so Web 1.0 in the 90s, it couldn't really make their own MySpaces and YouTubes and all that. They hadn't come about yet. So you had a little inkling of autonomy. Then when Web 2.0 came in with MySpace, YouTube, and I guess what they call social media, where you interact and can create your own broadcasting, that'd be Web 2.0. And I am saying the Android beam could not interrupt your MySpace, Facebook page. But somewhere around 2012, 2013, 2014, Facebook started advertising in your Facebook, something like that, right?
Uh-huh.
So they started interfering
in your
face, and they started interfering the way you just described the advertisements coming in. So that's sort of Web 3.0, the interference of your 2.0, Web 2.0 autonomy is the tech body.
Yeah.
3.0.
I think that would be a great, that would be a great way to talk about it.
Because that's what you're saying, iON. It can intervene into your space. I mean, how many years did one have Web 2.0? That was MySpace. And nobody could track you and present ads to you. Was that still probably someone say, oh, no, that started back in 2003 or 1998?
No. Bits and pieces have been prescribed, but it was all a test. But that was humans doing it. That was somebody sitting down writing an algorithm or writing a formulary or making a point that you're working to or with. Now it's very different. Now what happens, the machine's writing the writing.
So maybe it's Web 4.0, Web 4.0.
No, he said the machines are writing it. That's Web 3.0.
No, look at this about Web 3.0. Using the same pattern, blah, blah, blah. Web 3.0 could be defined as a phrase coined by John Markoff of the New York Times in 2006. Refers to a supposed third generation of Internet-based services that collectively comprise what might be called the intelligent web.
Yeah, that's Web 3.0, and that's what Ian's talking about. The beginning of it. Would you agree, Ian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then in the midst of that, in the throes of that, the zeitgeist got it. And so then it became the zeitgeist by your definition. And so now everybody's complaining that these these people are driving the machines to control us and this foolishness. It's not. It's the actual tech body itself making the prescription.
There was a lot of echoes there, Carolyn, but he said the word containment, something about containment. I didn't get the distinction. I missed the words. So
yeah, I don't know either.
How can we get iON in another area that...
iON is checking the stoves for the bread, so he's got to be near us. Why don't you move down?
Well, iON's moving out. But what did iON say?
iON? Well, I'm saying it's 4.0.
No.
So deny that. iON.
Yeah, what's...
We say we 0.5 because it's not quite 4.0 yet. 4.0 yet is when you lose the facility to notice. 4.0 is when you decide they know better and you give up. 4.0 is that you're going to, here's the slime and you're going to drink the slime because that's what they give. And no other slime is available, so that's all we can do. And then you start with this, well, there's nothing we can do position. That's 4.0. 3.5 is you're noticing it and you find the pleasure and the benefit from it. You get the benefit of it. The benefit of it is you get the coupon to when you're going to eat, so you get the discount. Well, that's cool. You like that. That's good. But the problem then becomes when there's no other place to eat but that place.
Yeah, you bring in the word zeitgeist, which has been around for 200 years. I don't know why you're saying the zeitgeist is a factor now. What do you mean by zeitgeist?
The mystery that everyone's in, the condition that everyone calls normal, the space that allows everyone to be that space, not just the oligarchs or not just the little man or not just the poor man.
What is everybody, that, 1.0?
Well, no, we don't. You just asked about zeitgeist. That's how the zeitgeist applies.
Yeah, you're saying it's a space where everybody lets be, and the oligarchy can't get in there. That's the chip space, Web 1.0.
Okay, then that would be what?
Let me give the definition to help. The defining spirit or mood of a particular period of history as shown by the ideas and beliefs of the time. So zeitgeist is whatever is up.
Now, and that zeitgeist now is accepting, if you're saying it's 1.0, it wouldn't be, it would be 3.5. So it's not quite 4, it would be 3.5, if that's the case.
Since I'm not catching what Ian's saying, Carolyn, I don't know how to respond. So I ask Ian to sum it up, what he just said. So I'll ask again, what is your meaning of zeitgeist, Ian, and when did that start?
Same as Carolyn read.
Well, it's been around for since Hegel, I think, coined zeitgeist.
Okay,
well,
we think it's wonderful.
Zeitgeist changes with every change in the spirit or mood of a particular period of history. It's not any one thing.
That's the definition of Hegel.
Of zeitgeist.
Hegel, Hegel. They should tell you that it came from Hegel.
Okay.
If you're looking at the Wikipedia. That's 200 years ago. So he idealized it into a spirit thing, whereas McLuhan said Harold Innis took the spiritual idea of the zeitgeist and applied it to the medium, the technology of the day.
Uh-huh.
And that's what McLuhan preferred. It wasn't woo-woo. It was, so the telegraph era had a certain characteristics in its zeitgeist. Then the radio era had certain characteristics. Then the TV and so on, each era. So Ian is saying today that zeitgeist, but the zeitgeist has been used for 200 years. So Ian is not making the right distinction.
The history today, the zeitgeist today is in Web 3.5. The zeitgeist now is the tech body has more capacity and function or unction to drive you in a space of knowing in this generality of the now, in the 211-year-old word zeitgeist that's for right now where you are. The new moniker is that the tech body, chip body, black mirror, whatever, knows more. And if you can't tell, if it can't tell you, you don't know. You have no idea. Now, you go through and find it somewhere else, and then you can verify it, but you have no way now of knowing. So much of what you know has been stored so securely in the chip body that now the chip body controls it. And that's what Carolyn is making the point, that that's causing the algorithms to write themselves, because they have more and more and more and more and more information. So much more that they can decide when to change the light, to let you go in traffic. They're taking a mind of their own because they know the traffic pattern and they know the flow and they know the zeitgeist. But no human is kept doing these calculations any longer. Used to 3.0, you made things that the chip body made it easy for you. It lets you store your pictures. It made the facial book. It lets you interact. It lets you track people. Let people go into your computer and fix things. Then they're in your computer. That's 3.0. 3.5 now is the tech body starting to take over. 4.0 is when they've completely taken over and you don't know they've done it. Meaning you're like it. It's the new thing the way it is.
Just before I go into the general phase, in our dialogue where we had Ian comment on the futurists from the Rotterdam a few years ago, Ian was trying to point out the inadequacy of the futurist predictions. What you just described as 3.5 is something the Rotterdam futurists didn't understand.
There's no way, because they couldn't understand it, because there was no dichotomy that would allow a wheelbarrow to decide how much work you were going to do.
Right. Okay, now back to you being with Hegel, who, before the telegraph became invented and became an environment, he was picking up on some collective effect, some simultaneity factor. So he was picking up the essence of electric environment, and he called it zeitgeist. So everybody explored what we call the analog evolution of electric media from the telegraph to the satellite, or at least the television.
Up to the flip phone.
The flip phone, okay. So, Carolyn, so they would passively be put into a new space the way ion, okay, so then ion says people now can't determine if they know the whole story, if the tech body is removing stuff from them. But when you did radio and television, everybody could experience what was presented. It may have been edited from an original print story or a spoken story, but the point was everybody knew what the story was. There was no interference in the experience.
In earlier days, everybody knew to turn into Richard Dawson in the Family Feud because it came on at 7 o'clock. And then Jeopardy came on at 7:30. You had to tune in to get it. Now no one's tuning into anything. Now you turn on the TV and Netflix tells you what to watch. And you don't search out something other than that, or if they do, they make it so impossible it doesn't even exist anymore. You've already watched that. You want to watch it again? Okay, we'll see. I don't know. We might let you. We might not. But yeah, no, we're going to let you know. So now people are pulling the plug because the plug has been pulled already. There's only a choice. You don't hook up and line up with shows anymore. You see? Right. Everything is on, quote, quote, everything is on demand. And that's what's happening. On demand means in 4.0, the computer's going to demand you watch this.
Okay, so look at this. So in the analog phase of simultaneity, it was one-way reception. You received the one-way broadcast from whatever the national services that in different countries broadcast. The big thing about digital technology was it brought in the two-way factor. And so I just posted an article on how Drudge has beat the legacy media because back in the mid-'90s, he provided, or once he got known after Lewinsky Gate, he spoke at the press club, and he said, we're in an era of two-way communication. And that's what Tim Leary told me in 1993 when we were at his house. He said McLuhan missed the two-way aspect of digital communication. So I point out to him, well, McLuhan talked about the two-way of the passive TV viewer who would have to make the image. So there was a two-way factor. McLuhan called it participatory in electric media. I don't know if Leary understood what I was saying, but the two-way particulars of the digital media that Leary thought was new, McLuhan does talk about in computers enabling, he says computers enable you to tailor your own information. So you can start to tailor, and there is this two-way thing. 1.0 is the two-way of the digital era, and that's slowly eroded. 1.0 web is two-way, but the two-way slowly gets swamped by the return of one-way, what I call the tech body. And what happened from 1.0 to 3.0 or 3.5 is that the two-way got potential capabilities overloaded. And in the mix of you enjoying your two-way private broadcasting of Facebook and YouTube, the Android, meaning the chip body, but now we call it the tech body, was sneaking up on people. And there's the Harvard economist who calls it surveillance capitalism, popular book out this year. It started to harvest the two-way and flip it into where it is today, back to a two-way abundance or a multi-way abundance, but you're seriously being interfered with.
Okay, Bob, is this your session or?
No, we'll get to you. So, iON, is that accurate that there's something different from the 1.0 and the two-way thing that was celebrated?
Yes. That's the point. You've built on it and built on it and built on it so much so that now it's taken over. That's the rub. That's all we got to say. The only thing we're engaging about what you said, your words are beautiful. We love those words. They are fabulous words. We don't give a crap about those words, less and except you're losing control. That's what you need to know. And quick. And there's no place to stop it. There's no place to undo it. You can't turn it off. You can't make it go away. The only way to happen is you're going to have an EMP to kill it. And that may not even kill it, but we're going to see.
Right. And so in the analog period, you could turn it off.
Yeah. You had to work hard. You had to go outside and turn the antenna. Remember the rotary antennas? And you had to crank the house around a little bit, and put the rabbit ears, and put aluminum foil on the rabbit ears, and hold it just a certain way to leave it to Beaver to come in plane, and the My Three Sons, and Sequest, and the Flying Nun. You had to work hard to get that to happen. Now you could watch it instantly by speaking to your remote control, and you're making a request, and then it decides if it lets you have it or not. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. But now the tech body's going to decide what you arrive to. You go to the grocery store. You don't go to the grocery store anymore. Now you scan and go. They know if you stole something or not. They know your intention. You don't even do anything. You just push the button when you run out of soap powders and they should drop some more at your door. You push a button and it's at your door before you get home from the store.
Okay, so McLuhan's tetra, wherever technology overused flips into its opposite. So the one-way broadcasting of Big Brother, 1934 to the two-way digital era, whenever that started, maybe in 1984. This first phase, that flipped into two-way. It was one-way broadcasting, flipped into two-way, and then the two-way maybe flipped into multiple broadcasting autonomy. So it put the broadcaster over the one-way analog residues or after images, but that flipped into too much and controlled by the tech body. So you're talking about flips here, iON.
Well, completion, Bob. Here's the banger for the day. If you have, what is a mote? What is a mote? M-O-T-E. If now your world is driven by a remote.
Right. The mote is the beam in your eye that's limited your bias.
And so to remote gives you the thing that controls or did control that whole expression. But now McLuhan, don't forget, you're not watching TV. TV's watching you. And now you have smart houses that are smarter than you and smart TVs that know more than you. Oh, no, you don't need. Oh, no. See no eye. No eye. No eye. No eye.
Okay, iON.
The TV knows what you're supposed to do and not do, and it'll tell you so quickly.
So TV in the analog period watched you. That's what Big Brother showed. Huxley's Orwell's 1984. In 1.0 and maybe into 2.0, people in that digital phase had the illusion that they were watching the old analog Big Brother, and that's what Drudge celebrated in the late 90s, early 2000s. But that flipped into the tech body watching you. Well, if you aren't noticing that, you might think you got quite abundant potential of expression. So they say young people avoid Facebook and stay away from that, like talking to J.W.'s son, who's like 18, whereas older people, Carolyn, are going onto Facebook more and more now. They're a little slow. They just see the service of it. They don't understand the disruption and interference and a retrieval of Big Brother in a way of the one-way return. You see that, Carol?
Of course, Bob.
Okay. So then my summation at the end of meme for the last 30, 40 years is coming alive and becoming more and more autonomous, best expressed in Croker's early books, is where we're at, is what's happened in general iON. It's taken on a life of its own, become the tech body, and we have surplus flesh is what the chemical body is. Right, iON?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we get into that point. So I'll end with this. Are the 14 degrees of freedom, I look at pictures of it. It shows a bar, and it shows different aspects of the 14 types on a bar, right? Different angles, iON?
Yes, of what
firing
you can
off
do.
A beam. Now, are there 14 degrees of freedom in the tech body?
Yes, there are.
Is it to the advantage of the tech body?
For sure, everything is at this point.
Okay, so is there 14 degrees of freedom in the 1.0 digital chip body?
Yes, those always were. But where now you're talking about, is it on a plane? Is it on a boat? Is it on a raft? Is it on the ocean? Is it in your bathtub? those different 14 different degrees apply in all those realms. But now your realms are different. Now you have a different capacity. Now the chip body is deciding what's left of the chip body, which is
the chip body, not the tech body. The chip body is deciding.
Yeah, but soon the tech body is going to take it over completely.
Right. Is the antidote to the tech body only coming into your power, as you talk about it? Is that the only antidote?
It's the only antidote at all. The only antidote.
So Coker's right to say that we're all surplus flesh and but obsolescent unless you come in your power and retrieve the new physical, supplemented by the enhanced non-physical represented by ion, the ultimate sovereignty. If you don't do that, then you're dead, or the dead state you're in continues. So the tech body is somehow similar to the Antichrist, which is a big challenge to Christ in the second coming. So is the tech body part of the second coming, but it is the Antichrist part?
Version. Let's call it the Antichrist version. Because other people are going to see, they're all wrapping into it now. They're thinking hell is great. Hell is wonderful. Let's have some hell.
Okay, I missed some of the words. You say have some hell, H-E-L-L?
Yeah. All the music now. One of the top songs, In Hell, I'll Be in Good Company. The song.
Is that a zeitgeist?
Yes, it's becoming a thing.
Zeitgeist.
Everybody's saying, yeah, hell ain't so bad. I've been there. It ain't bad.
Right. So
okay.
I didn't get your point. You're saying right now things. I say the tech body is the Antichrist, and then you qualified it. And what did you say it was?
That it's the shifting point that everybody's coming to. Now it's becoming easy. Hell was a terrible thing. Now it ain't so bad.
Oh, those that merge with the tech body don't find it a disservice.
Don't find it a disservice at all. They think, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, let's go to hell. I'll go to hell. Okay, let's go. Sounds like fun. Can't be as bad as this.
And that's the old fundamentalist Christian fear of the mark of the beast. You get chipped and you accept it. And you put the mark in your forehead. You get chipped in the forehead and everything's cool.
Well, and so those that avoided being chipped are now thoroughly going to be teched.
They're not going to avoid the mark of the beast.
They can't help it. See, they don't. It's not the mark of the beast. It's the problem. It's that their world is the mark of the beast. They're gonna. It doesn't matter if they don't have a telephone. It doesn't matter what they don't have. They're still gonna go through the red light. They're still gonna ride on the road. The car's got to work a certain way. And if it does, great. But if it doesn't work without this inclination, certain cars won't get through the red. Oh, no, you can't go through. You don't have the right. Oh, no, you can't go there. Oh, no, you're not going. Nope. Get out. You're not going there.
Okay, so that's the big brother of the Nazi era. Comes in and imposes his bureaucratic rules on people. The first part of the digital lifestyle was information longed to be free, and people felt they were information, and they got free for a while. Now the Nazi style of something telling you to go that way, even though you want to go the other way. That's the semi-retrieval. So my final point would be, the argument was Orwell in 1984 more accurate about where we are now versus Aldous Huxley's 1932 novel, The Brave New World?
Orwell was more accurate.
The hedonistic use of the chip body and the TV body, as I define them in the last 30 years, would favor Huxley's hedonistic society, and people were assuaged, controlled through their passions, and these would be...
That's 3.5.
Right, 4. That's the digital hedonism, Pornhub, whatever you want, it's available.
4.0 is Caligula.
Right, and it's the flip out of the Huxley back into Orwell, beyond what Orwell saw, way beyond that.
Orwell is it's over. You lost. They're driving. The aliens have got you. They're coming in your bed, and then the queen's on her way with something very sharp for your bum, and she's coming and get ready.
Right, that's the point. I was just going to say that 1984 ends with the cage being put over the hero's face, and he's going to be chewed up by the rat. So that's the queen coming to your butt. So praise LaRouche.
Yay.
LaRouche was right in the long run. That's why they had to kill LaRouche right now, Carol, to make their final move.
spite Arthur Croker in the bed someday.
Okay, and McLuhan and Thompson don't have a prayer at this level.
Okay, Bob, you done?
Right, Ion? Even though you say McLuhan predicted the tech body, but he didn't get the details.
That's correct.
I'm going to eat your bread, Bob. I'm going to ask...
All right, so I finished...
Bread.
They made some. Carolyn experienced her first bread making today with JW.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's just so crunchy on the outside and perfect on the inside. Lots of butter, Bob.
Thank you. And I'll say...
So, Ion, let me ask...
Hey, Carol, no, just a wrap-up statement for this item that, Michael Brown will make an item out of it. Ed will make an item out of either Michael's or his own. The point is, you've heard the layout, people, so now you can start talking to Ion and correcting whatever you thought I meant or what Ion meant. So let's hear from everybody about what we just heard, what it meant. Okay, Carol.
Dun, dun, dun.